What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of At Home with Mark. This is season 7, episode 14. And I have been following this gentleman. I first saw Mr. Chris Cron. Thank you, first of all. Thank you for doing the show.
Thanks for having me.
I first saw you when I was just scrolling like everybody does through Instagram, and I saw you pop up, and I can't remember what Beach Boys tune you were doing, but I was like, dude, this guy has some pipes, some serious pipes. And so I want to talk to you about that, obviously, too, but like also about like your production background and everything with
Yeah,
that. We can
yeah,
get into all that. But thank you so much again for being here and doing this. I'm
absolutely.
been looking forward to this for a couple weeks now.
Season 7, episode 14, my area code always representing 714, Orange
Okay,
County, California.
that's serendipitous. Oh my
It
god, dude.
is. It is.
Um, so funny, man. Um, so I want to ask you. I always ask everybody this first, Chris. What is your earliest musical memory?
My earliest musical memory is singing on stage at church with my parents.
Okay.
My dad was the choir director of the church I grew up in, and my mom sang in the choir, and I had to have been about 5 or 6, probably in a little, like, white angel costume for Christmas, running up there because I was half, shy and wanted to hold on to my mom and dad, and half wanting to grab the microphone and sing, so
Okay.
that was my first musical memory.
But it's in your blood.
Yeah, yeah, my whole family, like, growing up, uh, on my dad's side, there are 16 cousins, or
Wow.
in 16 including me. So all the aunts and uncles, all the cousins, every birthday, Easter, Christmas, you name it, whatever holiday, we would get together and eat and hang out, but we'd always start off singing the doxology, at together, or happy birthday or something like that. Um, and everyone would take a part. Everyone, like, just kinda picked their harmonies and just went for it.
Man,
Yeah.
that's crazy. I anytime I hear stories like that, I have a friend from high school and her family is like that. They all play instruments and when they get together for the holidays, they
Yeah.
sing, they play
Yeah.
Grateful Dead tunes and like sit
Amazing.
around. And I didn't have that. Like I'm the only musician in my family.
Okay.
So it's like like hearing those things, I'm like, man, I wish I would have grown up with that because it's like
Yeah.
to have that ability to have like whether it's siblings or aunts and uncles or cousins or whatever, and you guys all can hear that stuff and do
Mhm.
it. That's pretty amazing. Not everyone has that gift.
Yeah, I know, to have, like, a whole family that can just, like, pick out harmony parts is pretty cool. My grandpa on my mom's side was in barbershop quartets too, so, like,
Mm.
it's kind of on both sides of the family. Where did you get into music from if no one el in your family was musical?
Man, I've told this story a million times, but it's like I heard Pearl Jam for the first
Okay.
time in 1991. I was playing NBA jams in my buddy's room, and he
Yep.
like had a CD player and put on 10.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I just dropped the controller and was like, I want to play guitar. Like
Yes.
immediately,
Yep.
and it just happened, and my older brother's really I mean, he was super big Deadhead and, like,
Okay.
got me into a lot of cool music, like John Scofield when that A Go Go record came out, and
Mhm.
so he got me into all this really cool stuff, like jam bands and whatnot, but yeah, man, I had to kinda seek it out, and
Yeah.
I went through all these phases of, like, Pearl Jam into, like, Metallica and Pantera and all this stuff, and then I hit high school, and then it was, like, Fish and the Grateful Dead and
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
all that, and then, like, going back and, like, the band and, like, finding out all,
Oh,
like, Jimi
love
Hendrix
the
and
band.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like it went through all these different phases, and then when I went to Berkeley, I was, like, super into Wayne Krantz and, like, learning all this hip jazz fusion stuff, so
Okay.
I've been all over the map. I love it all, man.
Amazing. Did you go
Um,
to Berkeley for music?
yeah, for songwriting and guitar
Oh,
is
yeah,
what my
yeah.
major. Yeah,
Amazing. That's
yeah,
so
it was
cool.
fun, man. It was a really good time.
Uh,
Um, bless you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Sorry.
so basically yeah, I mean, so you had and this is in California when you were growing up, or is this
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Nashville? Okay,
This is in Orange County, California.
okay. How did you end
Yeah.
up in Nashville?
I don't know. We just kinda woke up here one day.
Right.
No, so a guy I was in men's chorus with in college, at Cal State Fullerton, he and his wife moved out to Nashville, back in, like, 2008, and at the time, my wife and I were still dating, but we took a road trip and went out there to see them, because they were close to us, and we kind of really liked it, and came back another year later after we had gotten married, um, and thought, like, you know, this might be a stupid idea to move across the country, but if we're gonna do it, we need to go check it out one more time and make sure. So we just kind of like we were both in between things. My wife was just kind of working a whatever job, and my band had ended, and was trying to figure out what I was doing, and so we moved to Nashville just to
Okay.
start over again. Yeah.
Fresh start is nice, man. That's
Plu
awesome.
plus California was way too expensive, and even back then, 10 years ago.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about like so growing up and singing and you know whether it's choir, but then you just said something about your band. So like talk to me a little bit about that. Like
Yeah.
how did you get into doing were you doing original music, I'm gathering? And
Yeah, so we started out as a swing band.
whoa, cool.
Yeah, 1998, 99 was, like, even into 2000, you might remember there was, like, a huge, like, swing movement.
Squirrel nut zippers and
Squirrel Nut Zippers, Big
yeah.
Bad Voodoo Daddy, the Royal
Yep.
Crown Review, like, all that stuff was, like, super popular for a minute. Remember the movie The Mask, and there was the whole, like,
Yep.
yeah, that crazy scene, and Swing Kids and Swingers and all that stuff. So we had a swing band for a little while, and we would play, like, Louis Prima and Louis Jordan songs and, like, um and then we'd write our own kind of, like, original, which was super cheeseball. I mean, we were 15, 16 years old in suits and hats, like,
Yeah.
thinking about swinging with my baby, you know?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we would go dancing at Tomorrowland at Disneyland. They had a swing band play, so that
That's
was a
cool.
thing for a minute, and then we kinda dropped that after we lost interest, and Weezer was really, like, coming into their own with their Pinkerton album, which just kinda changed my life a little bit. Got into Blur and Radiohead and all that stuff, and we started writing our own stuff, and, yeah,
That's nice.
yeah.
Are you into big band stuff as well?
I I mean, yes and no, like, it's been a long time since I have, like, really dived into it, but yeah, I mean, I used to listen to Duke Ellington and all that kinda stuff, and,
Mhm.
yeah,
Nice.
I love all kind of music, I as long as it's done well. I used to be really snotty about music and say I hate country, and I hate Nirvana, and I hate, because I was really big into, like, ska for a little bit.
Mhm.
So, there was the ska thing, and then there was the grunge thing, and they didn't really mix well. But now that I'm much older, I love it all. Yeah.
It's interesting too because, like, at that time, when you think about the late '90s, like,
Mhm.
even with all because I remember when that kind of, like, swing stuff was happening, there was also, like, that 311 thing that was
Mhm.
happening too,
Mhm.
and that's when that crossover when grunge was kinda, like, at its apex
Yep.
almost in a way.
Yep.
But I mean, I'm 44, so, like,
Yeah.
in the early '90s, like, that was my jam,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
all the Seattle stuff and, like,
Totally.
Stone Temple Pilots, I wouldn't consider them grunge. They were an LA band.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
consider them grunge, but
No. They
love
were
them.
more like Zeppelin.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much so.
Yeah.
But I do remember that period of time being very fruitful with, like, different things poking their head out of the industry, like what you're
Mhm.
talking about.
Yeah. Cake.
Um, yeah,
Yeah. Uh,
very different styles of music
yeah.
at that time.
Yeah. And it all just kind of, like, meshed together in my head through MTV, like, Daft Punk was coming out with some of that, like, early their early, like, dance stuff, and then, yeah, Cake and No Doubt and Rancid and, like, and Weezer and all these different bands that had different sounds and different, like, scenes, but that's the thing is back then there were scenes,
Mhm.
and there aren't really any
I know,
anymore.
what's up with that?
I don't
What do you think that is?
The internet.
Yeah,
Totally is.
like, too much stuff available?
Well, I don't know that it's too much. I mean, on one hand, it's a good thing because like, everyone has access to everything and kinda just like me, like, I love everything, and that's cool, and you see that in bands like the 1975 where it's like all their stuff, like, you can smell influences from everything, from, like, obscure Scottish new wave bands to, like, Prince, like, a all sorts of stuff. But it has, like, taken away the whole, like, communal aspect of music, which is, I think, really important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
there did you have when you guys were coming up, I mean, I'm a huge Weezer head too, I love Panic!
Oh, yeah.
Um, but when you were coming up and you were playing, so here's Radiohead right there, that's in
I
Ramos, but,
saw that, and
Jeff
Jeff
Buckley.
Buckley, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what's behind me there. I think it's Soundgarden and
Rubber Soul,
Rubber Soul, yeah.
yeah,
There's how crazy that's how all over the map I am.
love it.
But, when you guys were coming up, was there like a camaraderie in where you guys were playing music where there
Oh, yeah.
was more of, like, a lot of the same, or was it a ton of different music happening, or
Both. There was a club in Anaheim called Chain Reaction, and it was an old Mexican restaurant that turned Public Storage, turned all ages music venue. Yeah. It was this, like, weird little thing tucked into a strip mall on the corner of Lincoln and Euclid in Anaheim, and it was where we cut our teeth. Like, if we weren't playing a show there, we were there watching bands play or hanging out in the parking lot and passing out flyers. But there were so many, like, friends bands, and we even did a thing. We did their first and second annual Chain Reaction prom, where like all of our friends bands, we would get together and we put on this thing, and everyone dressed up in suits and, like, rocked out and played and had this kind of, like, prom kind of themed show. But it was bands from all over the map. We played with ska bands and punk bands and alternative rock bands and power pop bands and 60s bands, like, all sorts of stuff, and it was so fun, but we all, like, got along and went to Denny's afterwards.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's awesome, man.
yeah.
It seems like there's, like I've hung out in Cali, like, enough, and been doing enough NAMM shows,
Oh, yeah.
to realize have you been to a bunch of those? You tend to go to
I Do you know of Duesenberg Guitars?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Um, the guy that's their distributor is kind of like my uncle. I grew up with him.
Oh, cool, man.
He's older than me, but, I helped him out at the NAMM show for 10 years.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're hip to the NAMM thrax.
I know. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All the, like, B-list, C-list, '80s hair metal guys.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
I feel like I like going to that, not every year. I like going because I like gear, but,
Yeah.
I went last year, and it's very different now.
Mhm.
I mean, I heard a lot of the vendors talking about, like, "We don't need to do it anymore. We don't need to spend all this money because we have so much presence on social media now.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody knows what we have coming out,
Yep.
and we can work direct to all the vendors and the dealers and all that." So,
Yep.
I don't know what's gonna happen with it, man, which is kind of a bummer in a way, but
I think the big ones will probably still do it, but, like, I remember going to the basement, and the basement was always, back in 2004, 2005, it was always where all the really cool, quirky synthesizers and weird pedal companies would be, and I remember going up to a little booth, and it was Teenage Engineering, the, like, company that makes the OP1, this little, like, tabletop synth thing, and, like,
oh, cool.
um yeah, all these, like, cool there was another one that made this, like, synth that was, like, just wooden keys on a green or orange chassis. It was super weird looking and awesome. Um, but yeah, that was, like, you'd go downstairs to find the cool stuff, and then upstairs was, you know, Fender and Ludwig and all the, like, Shure and all the big vendors, which are still cool as well, but, like, yeah, it's not
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not the same anymore.
It's very different, very
Mhm.
different. And speaking of that, of all the different things that you can go see when you're there, I know you're a multi-instrumentalist like myself, and
Yeah.
I love that.
Likewise.
You know what's cool, man? Like, there's this band that came out of Philly, they were called Town Hall,
Okay.
and I've never seen any other band do this,
Town
but
hall.
they all switched instruments.
Oh,
The wh
sweet.
the whole show. The only person that stayed was the drummer,
Okay.
but they had horns,
I'm gonna write
bass
that down.
Yeah, they have a record. They're not together anymore, but
What's the record called?
the new song.
Town Hall, the new song. Okay.
Yeah, great Philly band, amazing. Um, but that was like in the time, of the late 90s and everything, and like the jam scene. They were kind of in that scene. But like I love when I see people do that like you, and I'm like, man, I want to put together a band like that where everybody can be
Everyone
like
plays. Yeah.
rotating, playing keys, guitars, bass,
Yeah.
whatever. How did you
Yes.
get into that? How did you get into like getting your hands in everything?
Um, I think it was just necessity. And I just love music and I love like I can nerd out about drums as much as I can nerd out about piano and vocals and songwriting and stuff. I just love like sounds and what they can do, and I was always just curious, I guess. My I started on piano when I was 5. Um, and then when I was 13, my dad brought and I wasn't really into like that into music at that point. I was taking piano lessons because my parents,
Made you.
made me.
Yeah.
And I liked music, but I wasn't like, this is what I want to do the rest of my life until my dad brought home an electric guitar, made in Japan Fender Strat,
Nice.
um, which he got from a guy from his work who was just clearing out his garage. And crazy thing is that like a few months later, he was rollerblading and was killed like crossing the street.
What?
So I've got this guy's guitar that I will never get rid of because it's got this like
Oh,
story, and I just feel like I owe it to him to keep the guitar and keep playing it.
heck yeah.
Um, so yeah, I was 13 and I learned every like specials and um Weezer and just every like ska punk song I could think of that summer. Um, and from there, like bass guitar, there was a bass at the church I grew up at, so I would just go play. It was this crazy heavy PV bass from my uncle. I just kind of learned, and I'd loved Paul McCartney, of course, and the Beach Boys. So Carol Kay on, yeah. The bass is a melodic instrument to me, so it's just like
Yeah.
counterpoint to the melody. And drums are loud and badass, so, you can
Yeah,
just get
man.
on there and, like, bash on them. I'm not a great drummer, but so it just kind of, like, evolved from there. Anything with keys, I can get around on, I can get around on anything that kinda feels like a guitar. I'm not, like, a virtuoso on any of those, but I can do enough to be dangerous.
Yeah, and are you still, like, curious and pushing, like, kind of the ball up the field with some of these instruments? Like, are you like is there one instrument right now where you're like, "I'm spending a lot of time on this one thing. I'm shedding on this all the time."
Um, I'm doing a lot of songwriting lately, and sometimes it's at night when everyone's in bed, so it's like just like keyboard with headphones, just playing like soft piano stuff, or kind of gotten back into acoustic guitar. For a while, I hated it, and I didn't hate it, but I just like was just it didn't like drive my curiosity anymore.
Mhm.
But now it's like I don't know. There's something like I'm kind of getting into, like, softer stuff because for so long I've been a belter, like, I just do this thing,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to, like, embrace some, like, quiet a little
Yeah?
bit. Yeah.
Is that hence the Rufus Wainwright stuff lately, or is
Oh
that
gosh, I've
that
always been a fan. I love his stuff, his melodic choices, his lyrics, his, like, sense of humor, it's great.
Yeah. I
Um,
love his dad too.
you know
Loudest.
what? I have not listened to him yet, and you're the
Oh.
second person to tell me I need to go check him out.
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a song that I will forever cover called Motel I think it's called Motel Blues,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's about him deciding to, like, either cheat or not cheat on his partner at
Uh,
after a show at a motel or something, but it's so good, it's so deep.
okay.
I would definitely check it out.
Okay.
You did such a good job too, like, with the stuff that you've done with whether it's Rufus or the Beach Boys, but the Rufus stuff, when I saw you doing that recently in the
Oh.
past few weeks, I was like, "Man, he's got that nailed." Like,
Oh, no, thank you.
phrasing,
It
The breathing thing that dude does, like, in between everything. I don't know
Yeah, yeah,
if he's just like, "I gotta support this note, so I'm gonna" you can hear me breathe.
probably.
Yeah.
It's like a yeah, he's a tenor, and it takes a lot of breath to get to some of those notes, but I've just always liked impersonations, like doing Kermit the Frog or, like,
Nice.
silly things. My dad, like, would always do impersonations when we were kids, so I just kinda ticked that on, and from there, it's like, "Can I sound like Paul McCartney? I can try," or, like, it's just fun to, like, try and emulate those people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Dude, have you ever seen, um so
Mm.
there's a couple bands that come through around here that are like Beatles tribute bands,
Okay.
but there's this band called Rain that I saw. Have
I
you heard
did
about them?
I saw Rain.
Oh, they're great, dude.
They are amazing.
That
The
dude plays left-handed bass, and he's not a left-handed
I
player.
know,
That's
that's
crazy.
insane. He had to learn it to get the gig. Like, I couldn't do it. I don't think I could, like, flip.
No.
Yeah,
I'm and that they're, like, singing those parts, dude, that
yeah.
is, like, gotta be one of the hardest men to cover in terms
Oh,
of
yeah.
I
And
mean
he nailed it. He, like, got the, like, head thing down and he got the, like, intonation and even his speaking lines, like, feels like Paul.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
so spot on. I mean,
yeah.
there's my vocal range is I've been trying to work I had a whole vocal, I feel like an injury a little while ago, and I'm
Oh, no.
trying to get back, but, like, trying to sing a Beatles tune or trying to sing a Dawes tune, like, some of Taylor stuff, like, I'll never be able to sing When My Time Comes.
Oh, man.
It's just, like,
Yeah.
that A above middle C.
Yeah, I'm getting over a cold right now, so
Yeah,
yeah,
dude,
but
yo, we'll talk about Dawes in a little
yeah,
bit, but
what's your main instrument, by the way? I see, is that a Morgan guitar
it's a
amp?
2 Rock.
Oh, okay.
That one is a company called Synaptic, they're out of Maine.
Oh, okay.
But 2 Rock is my main bag.
Okay.
Yeah, I love them. But yeah, guitar is my
Yeah,
main jam for sure.
okay. What would you go to 2nd?
Probably piano.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
Are you the same way?
B backwards. Piano
Backwards?
first, then guitar.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then drums?
and then
Or
actually, maybe
bass?
bass. Probably piano, bass, guitar, and then drums,
Okay.
in
Alright.
order of proficiency,
Okay.
I think.
Now, when you're tracking the stuff that you're doing for your videos, are you just cutting to a click, like cutting a piano to a click or a guitar to a click and then layering? Like, where do you usually start with?
Yeah, it kinda depends, like, so there's a are you talking about, like, the Beach Boys stuff or, like, the stuff
And
on
yeah,
Instagram? Yeah.
any of the stuff that you're doing with that, yeah. Mhm.
It kinda depends, like, if it's an original song like, I do these for a while, I was doing this thing called Monday Musings where I would just, like every Monday, I would write the first thing that came to my head and sing it, and so that would be just, like, straight up piano vocal, just a one take kind of a thing,
Mm.
not to a click, unless I was, like, putting a drum machine in it or something. Um, yeah, I usually, like, cut to a click just because it's quicker for me when I'm making these videos to, like some of the time I have to, like, cut and paste a few things just to, like otherwise it's gonna take me hours and hours and hours, and I'm trying to make
Yeah.
these videos quickly. Um, so yeah, I'll cut to a click, and I'll usually, like, track a piano, and I don't like to play to a straight click because it just feels dead to me, so
Yeah, I
I'll,
hear
like,
you.
put in a shaker, or I'll program a little drum beat to play along to, and then I'll replace it later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's smart.
yeah,
So are you, and you're doing all the instruments, right? You're playing
yeah.
everything? Yeah.
Mhm.
Man.
Most of the time. There's a few times that I, like, program it. If it's really, like, I don't have time, I'll program in a drum beat. But, like, with a lot of the Beach Boys stuff, I've, like, cut up actual Beach Boys songs.
Mhm.
Like, found, like, songs that start with like, at the beginning of, is it "Wouldn't It Be Nice?" Or "Don't Worry Baby." At the beginning, there's this doo ga gung gung ga gung gung, just like a 2-bar section of just drums. So I've cut the kick and cut the snare, which is actually a snare and a floor tom. So
Okay.
I've, like, done some quick stuff where I just, like, put that in and put it on the grid and then play along to everything else.
Where did you get your production chops from? Has that just been, like, self-taught, or did you
Ye
study, or
yeah, I started when I was in the band. I did all the demos for our first record. We were on, an indie label called Hopeless Records.
Okay.
Like, do you remember the band Avenged Sevenfold
Yeah, of course.
and Thrice?
Yes.
Yeah, they were on the label. Um, and then here we were, this, like, power pop piano rock band. But I had a Boss BR8, which was a little, like, zip disk recorder, um, and it had 2 inputs, so I would plug my keyboard in and play the drums on the keyboard, just, C is the kick drum, E is the snare, F sharp is the hi-hat, and I would just play things in, as best I could, and then we would layer stuff over the top. Um, so I just kinda learned arranging and recording from there, and I wasn't great, none of them sound great. Um, but then, uh, I bought a my first MacBook. It was like a 15-inch back in 2005, I wanna say. No, maybe before that, 2004, and got a copy of GarageBand,
Heck
and
yeah.
and started on GarageBand with a PreSonus, like, 8-channel PreSonus audio interface, and just kind of did it. Just went to town and read every tape op and sound on sound article I could find, and just learned as I went. It wasn't like a really conscious thing other than we just need to record these songs. So, and then I just really loved it. It was fun. My the bass player to for our old band, his dad owned this house up on a hill and no one was living in it, and it had a pool and like it was awesome. So we would camp out there and just for like days and days and days just track stuff
Oh
and
my
write.
gosh, that sounds like a blast.
Like I'm really, really lucky to have had that. But from there I got a copy of Logic Express 7 and then so I've been on Logic since early 2000s and just kind of learned as I went. And it was all necessity to, like, get my ideas down. It was all
Yeah.
f like, songwriting was the impetus for me learning recording.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever, like, in the '90s, did you ever rock, like, those, like, early, like, Tascam tape 4 tracks or
I
anything?
didn't until a few years ago when I bought one, 424,
Yeah,
and
that's the one I had, man. It's
yeah,
so funny.
oh, dude, it was so cool, but I ended up selling it because I just, like it sounded too good.
Right?
Does that make sense?
That's so funny.
I wanted it to sound kinda shitty,
Yeah,
but,
like that lo-fi kinda
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it sounded good, and it kinda had this, like, sheen to it that was cool. I'll have to find it, it's on YouTube somewhere, but I did a cover of "I Hope That Something Better Comes Along" from The Muppets.
Oh, man, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
and I had to, like I played the drums, played everything on it, uh, but I realized that was when I really realized I am not a drummer, because there's no way when you're by yourself to, like, punch in
Mhm.
when you're doing a drum take, so you had to just play it right, so it was, like, probably 10 takes to get it right.
Yeah, man. It's
Um,
tough, dude. That's, like,
yeah,
especially and you don't have a click in those
no.
necessarily,
I
yeah.
I think what I did was I used my phone, and I, like, plugged in and used a click app and ran it to my AirPod headphones, the ones with the cable, and then put my headphones over those, so I had a click running and could hear the drums and just tracked along to that.
Man, that sounds like fun.
It was, and I'm, like, kicking myself for selling it now, I wish I had kept it.
I mean, they're floating around out there, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I sold mine to my old drummer that's
Mhm.
in Austin. I told him, I was like, "I think I'm gonna sell this." He's like, "I'll buy it." I was like,
Yeah,
"Really? You
yeah,
really want this?" He's like, "Dude, everybody wants those right now." He's like, "It's
I know.
I
I
don't know
coulda
why."
sold it for a couple $100, and I think I sold it for 150. But I really wanted I almost bought probably 10, 12 years ago, the Tascam 388, which was
Oh, yeah, I remember that
the,
thing.
like, Beastie Boys machine,
Yeah, yeah,
'cause
yeah, yeah.
those, like, crunch up and sound super cool, and I found one on sale for, like, $500, but I didn't pull the trigger, and now they're, like, 3 or 4 grand.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude.
so stupid.
Ah. Have you ever messed with, that are you familiar with Vulfpeck?
Oh, yeah.
I would guess you were.
I was gonna you mentioned earlier about, like, bands that are multi-instrumentalists. They're one
Mm.
of those that can just switch.
I
Except
know.
except for, Joe Dart is just he lives on that bass.
He's
And
slamming
you don't
it.
want him anywhere else. You want him
No,
right
no,
there.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, "You just stay there, buddy, you're fine."
Yep.
Uh, um, so that they have that, plug-in, the Vulf compressor. Do you
Yes.
have that?
I don't have it yet. I did a free trial, and I liked it. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it yet.
I use it every week on my
Okay.
YouTube videos. Like, every time I'm doing a gear demo, it's always I usually have a boom mic, and I just put that on, and it sounds like I'm right here. And it's
Okay.
just like it's so good. It sounds so good on everything, man. It sounds great on
Yeah.
acoustic guitars, on bass, obviously, on kick
Yeah.
drums, snare drums.
Yeah.
It's pretty applicable to a lot of different things you could be doing musically.
Yeah,
So
I hear great things about it, and the Lossy plugin too.
I don't know about that one. What's that?
That's from Good Hurts too. It's like a intentional, s signal degradation plugin. It's supposed to, like, make it sound like bad MP3s and, like, all sorts of different algorithms of different, like, crappy sounding things.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but there's a guy named Ethan Gruska. I think it's Gruska.
Okay.
He's John Williams' grandson,
Okay.
and he's an amazing producer and an amazing artist. He, he does, like, Phoebe Bridgers stuff, and he's in that whole, like, LA scene with Tony Berg and Blake Mills, if you know Blake Mills.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. That
he's in
guy.
that whole scene.
All
Go
right.
check out his record, On Guard,
I'll write that
uh,
down.
and the one before it is called, Slow Motionary, I think.
Okay. I'm writing it down.
But I heard about that Lossy plugin from him. They used it on all sorts of stuff, and it's all over that, like, I forgot what the record's called, one of those Phoebe Bridgers records.
Okay.
But just kinda like the guitars are, like, ran through it, so they all the top end is rolled off, and they just sound like they're kind of back here, and her voice is way up here.
Yeah. That's the thing. Some of those cats, especially that circle of cats, like Blake Mills, what he did on "We're All Gonna Die" with Dawes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, first and foremost, like "Hi Ho" is one of the best records
Mhm.
sonically I think I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of magic that dude had going on. Like
He's insane.
how he hears things and how
Mhm.
he perceives music is just
Yeah.
on a different level.
Have you heard Perfume Genius?
No.
Check out the song, oh, what's it called? I'm gonna blank on it now. Slip Away or something like that
Okay.
by Perfume Genius, and Blake Mills produced it.
Okay.
And it's so cool. It's got this, like, I was reading about it, and the sound at the beginning, you're like, "What is this?" It sounds like a didgeridoo and a guitar, and but it's a kalimba, like a
Oh.
but a bass kalimba that's it had a pickup on it. So they plugged it into 2 JC 20 or 120s, the Roland, those, like, super clean Roland amps.
Oh, yeah, the jazz chorus.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, and they had 1 delayed. And so it's this, like, wobble, 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 kinda, like, back and forth thing on a you're like, "What is this sound?" And it's just magic. Yeah.
Who thinks to do that
He
stuff?
does.
It's it's just
Yep.
mind-blowing, and, like, the one thing did you watch that documentary, the Dawes documentary about the making of "We're All Gonna Die"?
I haven't seen it yet.
It's on YouTube.
Okay.
You can watch it. But, the Roll with the Punches, that
Oh,
whole
so good. Yep.
originally, I thought that was yeah, I thought that was like a, just like a really overdriven B3,
Yeah.
and it's a clav. It's a
Is it
clavinet.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I for sure thought it was a B3.
They just put all these, like, Lee I had Lee Pardini on my show too, and he told me
Oh,
I can't
yeah.
remember what he said. He said they had a couple guitar pedals that they were kinda messing with,
Uh-huh.
And he was like, "Yeah, we just ran the clav through the Leslie."
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then
That's
there's all those like fourths, like those parallel fourth, like that he's playing, and it's just got that.
yeah.
Oh, that cat is one hell of a player.
Right. That he'd be up there with like guys I wish I could play like.
Oh man,
Yeah.
he's a huge jazz head, obviously, but
Oh yeah.
we talked for a while about Bruce Hornsby. Like he loves Bruce Hornsby.
Oh yeah.
Are you a Hornsby head?
Yeah, I mean I love everything I have heard from Hornsby. I need to go listen to some more records and like deep dive.
Yeah.
But yeah, his
There's
playing's unreal.
yeah, one of my favorite records is Big Swing Face, and a lot of people hate on that record hard. I
Okay,
don't.
I gotta go check it out.
It's because it's like there's some electronic drums on it, and I think people are like, "What's going on here? He was playing with the Dead for a bit. Like, why is he using electronic drums?" I'm like, "Dude, grow up."
Why not? It's a tool. It's like
Yeah.
it's a palette. It's a color palette. It's like why are you using orange? Like, like who cares?
People feign away from technology sometimes. I'm like, "Why? Like,
I know.
embrace it, man.
I
Run with
know.
it." You know?
So on that topic, what do you think of AI?
I mean, I'm not scared of it. I
Yeah.
feel like, I don't want it to take away from the creativity that exists in the human brain as a songwriter.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's applicable ways that we could harness as an instrument, harness it.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what happens with it. And my day job is I work for Berkeley too. And
Okay.
we talk about it constantly about how it's going to be infiltrating, education and the
Uh-huh.
future of how we can use it.
Yeah.
But right now, a lot of people are trying to use it to cheat, like
Uh-huh.
on assignments and stuff. So
Write me
I
an
don't.
essay about this and yeah.
Right, yeah, and I don't know, but I will say, man, some of the art stuff that when you just put in, like, man walking a tightrope eating waffles, and
Yeah.
it, like, creates an image kinda
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
that's kinda neat, you
It
know?
is it is pretty cool. I've done a few of those where I just, like, type in a prompt or something, and it's been pretty cool. Like, some of the things are, like, frameable, like, definitely could go on the wall.
Yeah. What do
Uh,
you I mean, are you kinda like, "I think it's cool," or are you like,
I
"Eh?"
yeah, I think it's cool as long as we, like, put some, like, bumpers on it. Um, I could see I'm just thinking ahead about, like, vocalists and people, like, being able to just take someone's voice and have them do something that they might not have signed off on.
Oh, yeah, that's not cool.
Um,
I don't want that to happen either.
so I think there needs to be some, like, guidelines with that, and maybe even it's a thing. I don't know if this is possible. I'm sure it's possible. Anything is eventually possible.
Right.
Um, but to take, like, basically a picture of your voice or or like a thumbprint, basically, a fingerprint of your own vocal tract and have it copywritten somehow.
Oh, that's weird to think
Yeah,
about.
it is weird to think about, but I think that
Ugh.
would go a long way in, like, if y ownership of your thing,
Yeah.
of who you are a bit, so that no one can really go and do that. But I do think that AI is, like it's got a lot of potential, a lot of potential, good or bad.
Yeah.
Um, it could really disrupt a few things. It could also just enable us to, like, create things faster. Like, I imagine an EQ powered by AI that, like, can help someone who doesn't really know what they're doing to, like, shape something into a sound quicker and better than they could by years of learning, which has its downsides, because I spent a lot of time, like, learning how to EQ things, and I'm still
Right.
learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because my nerd brain goes to like, I'd like to see more young Luke Skywalker films. Let's get young Mark Hamill's voice and pop it into like some CGI'd face.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Did
Yeah,
you see, the new Indiana Jones?
yes, I did, and I loved it.
I did too, thank you.
I thought it was great, man. And
Yeah.
like we're of the generation we grew up with those movies,
Oh, yeah.
and the Crystal Skull was bleh.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
meh. But my wife and I watched it one night. We put our daughter to sleep and we came down the basement and watched it. And it's long.
It is.
I was
Yeah.
dozing here and there, but like I was like, this is really fun.
It really was, and that's what I want in an Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
It was fun, it was adventurous, it was kinda humorous, it just, like, it had everything that I
Yeah,
wanted it to have.
I agree, and I don't want them to keep that franchise going with somebody like Chris Pratt. Like, let's
No.
just let it die with this last film kinda thing, like,
Well,
with
except
Harrison.
unless they can
AI him?
AI him.
Yeah. Which they did, if we wanna say they deep
I
faked
know,
him in the
right?
beginning.
Right?
So it's possible,
It is.
but, I mean, nothing beats The Last Crusade for me. I mean,
No.
it's just the best,
Yeah,
but
absolutely. Actually,
still.
my son I'll see if I can find the picture. My son he's 8, and he loves Indiana Jones right now.
Oh, heck yeah.
So he was Indy for Halloween, and he really wanted me to be, um, Doctor Jones. So
Oh,
we
yes! Oh my god, yes! That's so good. Oh, man, that was this year?
That was this year, yeah.
Oh, man, that's so
Yep,
great.
it
Oh
was
my
fun.
gosh, dude. Ah, um,
Um, I was gonna say on the AI thing and, um, with Beach Boys, have you heard that, the guy that has done, like, all of Smile, the Smile
no,
record? He took
mm,
he's, like, used AI to recreate and to finish Smile.
really?
Yeah, I mean, I know Brian Wilson put out a finished version of Smile,
Mhm.
but it was you know, 40 years later, Brian Wilson doing it, and so this guy has kinda used AI pieces and all the things that were available and pieced together Smile, and it sounds really cool.
Man,
Yeah,
see, there's something there
yeah,
that's worth exploring,
yep,
you know?
and he also did a cover of do you know the song "I Think I'm Going Out of My Head" by Anthony and the Imperials? It's like a '60s song. Well, I think I'm
Yes.
going out of my head. Yeah,
Mhm.
so he did a Beach Boys cover of that,
Oh.
which the first time I heard it, I was like, "This is amazing," but did he just push a button and it turned and it made this cover? And it's not that. He spent a long time building this thing. He, like, chopped up other Beach Boys songs to get drums and bass and keys and all that kinda stuff and pieced together this new cover, and then he sang all the parts and then ran it through an algorithm that learned Brian Wilson and Al Jardine and, Carl Wilson's voices and then flipped them. It's a really, really cool listen.
What?
Yeah, go on YouTube. It sounds like the '60s.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude.
it sounds great.
Like that, like, mono sound kinda
It's
thing?
still stereo, but it just, like, it it will fool you. If you didn't know it was AI, like, you'd be like, "Oh, I didn't know the Beach Boys covered this." It's great. It's really great, yeah.
I mean, I love that era and that sound. I mean, I'm a huge Motown guy too, so,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that whole, like, Jamerson kind of bass sound and, like,
Dude,
that's
I have the
ugh.
multi-tracks to, "Heard It Through the Grapevine," the Marvin Gaye
Whoa.
version, and Jamerson's playing on it, and his parts are so weird and awesome.
Yeah.
These, like, weird chromatic stepping kinda riffs and stuff, it's great.
Yeah.
Really,
He
really great.
he was a dirty player, man.
Yeah.
Like, just
The hook, 1 finger too.
oh,
Yeah.
dude, like, I mean, that groove, I mean, just listening to after I saw Standing in the Shadows of Motown, that
Mhm.
documentary, have you ever seen that?
Mm-mm.
It's pretty good. I mean, it's a little slow, but it's
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah.
But when I saw that and about the Funk Brothers and the backing bands and all the stuff that happened with that era of music, it's just it's amazing to see where that started and now where it's come. If we fast forward to like Beyonce or like,
Uh-huh.
whatever we're doing, but now it's like everybody's trying to go back to get that thing again,
Mhm.
that magic and that kind
Yeah.
of, it's almost like that Muscle Shoals like Motown
Yeah.
thing is
Yeah.
like, I love that stuff,
I
dude.
do too.
Oh,
And we're kind of we have revisited the, like, business model a bit, where, like, albums are way less important than singles. You know what
mhm.
I mean? Like,
Yeah,
like, the '50s and early '60s, it was all about singles until the Beatles really came in and, like, "We're gonna make our own albums," and, "What's an album?" You know, like, that kind of, like,
right.
thing. It it almost doesn't make I mean, it makes sense. I still love albums, but, like, the way people release music is, like, a song at a time.
Yeah. Speaking of which, what did you think of the most recent Beatles release?
It was fine.
That's exactly how I felt.
I didn't hate it. Um, and my daughter loves it, so that's one thing. And she, I showed her the music video that they made for it, and she's like, "I like John. He's silly." She's 4. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's good. It's the Beatles. It's hard to like hate it,
Mhm.
but it didn't like blow me away.
It's no Free as a Bird.
No, "Free as a Bird" is a fantastic song.
That's a masterpiece
Yeah.
of the song.
Yep.
But yeah, I felt the same way. I was a little underwhelmed. I was like, "Okay." I
Mhm.
mean, I like it because I love those guys, and I
Yeah,
always will, but,
of
like, at the
course.
same time, I'm like, it's no Free as a Bird." So,
No, no.
which at the time when that came out, that was also like, "How did they do this?"
Yeah, I know. I know, and
So,
that was like 25, 30 years ago almost.
yeah. So
Probably, yeah.
oh, yeah. I mean, I was teenager,
Oh,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
When that anthology came out?
Yeah, man.
Oh gosh,
That
so
was
good.
great. Well, we're getting sidetracked,
It's okay, it's
which is
okay.
great, um, but I wanted to talk more about you. So you have did you just release a single, or is it Unbreakable? Is that your
Unbreakable came out, in January, this
okay,
past January.
which also sounds great.
Thank you,
Yeah, man.
thank you.
So tell me, what are you doing now, like, original music-wise? Can you fill me in on what's happening with that world?
So, I started a solo record in 2015,
Okay.
and it has yet to come out.
Okay, that's fine.
Partially because I had 2 kids and have
Mhm.
just been, you know, playing dad and playing house and
Mhm.
paying bills and all that kind of stuff. And um, it's like I've worked on it in stages over the past 8 years, but I really am trying to finish it soon. I've got a big whiteboard somewhere around here that's got all the songs with like drums check, bass check. And I've
Is it the
got
one behind you on the wall?
no, that's my like what I have to do this week
To-do list.
to-do list. It's somewhere around here, but yeah, I've got like 30 songs that I like, and I'm trying to pick 10, and I just have kind of lost perspective on if it's good. You know what
Mm.
I mean? Like, so I put Unbreakable out. I put another song called In It to Win It out, and I re-released a song that I had put out in 2016 called Atlas, just like a month ago. Just because I took it down for some reason and thought I should put it back up. So
Yeah.
I didn't do any push on it. I just put it back up.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Um, but yeah, I've got this solo record that is like it's all like love songs. It's all songs about my wife and our relationship and becoming a parent and um it's a little bit all over the place, but that's what happens when you write a record over 8 years.
that's what also happens with life, right?
It is. It totally is. And so I'm producing it myself and learning how to mix and trying to save money to get a few friends to mix a few things. And I've been fortunate. I've got a guy at a recording studio out here in Franklin, Tennessee, who he's a friend of mine and he runs the education department at the studio. They have like a school.
Mhm.
So whenever they need a guinea pig, they call me up to like, "Hey, do you have a song or two that you need recorded? Come on out." And we get a drummer and a bass player sometimes, or I'll play bass on it, and we'll track drums, bass, and piano and vocal at least, and maybe some B3 and a little guitar here or there, just whatever we can get done in the day.
Mhm.
So I've like at least half the record has been tracked that way, which is
Oh, wow.
cool to like get actual drums and actual piano on it rather than samples. And so yeah, I've just kind of been piecemealing this thing together.
Yeah, man.
And in the meantime, working on a Beach Boys album as well.
Oh, really? Are you like
Yeah,
an album of covers?
an album of a few covers, a few that actually is on the whiteboard. I've got a song. I released two of the songs. One's called "Everywhere's Hawaii" with my girl, It's an original.
Okay.
Another one that I wrote called "Don't Be Afraid." That's kind of like Pet Soundsy. Um, there's a cover of Surfer Girl that is on Instagram, but
I
not
heard a little bit of that for
that's not
sure.
released yet on Spotify and all that stuff. Um, there's a cover of "Long Promised Road." Do you know that one? It's
I
off of
don't.
Surf's Up. Carl Wilson wrote it and played everything on it, like drums, bass, guitars, keys. Yeah,
Wow, I didn't
it's
know
it's
that.
it's it's a cool tune. And just a few originals. There's a Taylor Swift cover, but in the
Nice.
style of uh, "Shake It Off."
Okay.
Uh, uh, in the style of Barbara Ann. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, right, right,
Yeah,
right, right.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, just a bunch of random stuff like that. It's kind of
That's
just like
super
a
cool.
homage to the Beach Boys.
Yeah. Well, you do it so well, dude.
Oh,
It's like
thank you.
it's I mean, I'm a newer fan, but,
Okay, what got you
when
into it?
I'm talking about you, a newer fan of you.
Oh,
Um,
oh, I thought you meant of the Beach Boys.
no, well, I've always been I mean, I had friends back in the day in high school, like, "You have to get Pet Sounds, it's one of the greatest records of all time."
Yeah.
And, like, my wife, when we got married so I composed something for a string quartet for her to walk down the aisle to,
Oh, sweet.
but when she walked out, we did you ever hear Jamie Cullum's version of God Only Knows?
I have heard about it. I haven't heard it yet.
It's
I do love
great.
Jamie Cullum.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. It's like that Eleanor Rigby Beatles type vibe.
Oh, sweet.
So they played that when we walked out together when we got
Oh,
married.
cool.
So, like, that song has always been one of my faves. I, like, arranged, like, a bossa nova version of that, and I used to play back in the
Oh,
day,
you
like,
love
just solo
bossa
guitar.
nova.
I love dude, I'm all over the place,
Yeah.
man. I love
I'm a
salsa music and,
yeah.
everything, dude, you know?
I'm a Joe Beam fan.
Oh, okay, right on.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But yeah, so, like, I think I got into the Beach Boys at that point, but, like, there was always that thing about, like, Sergeant Pepper and Pet Sounds and, like,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
that whole thing. What did you ever take away from that? Like, when people were talking about
It's apples and oranges. I love them both. I can't, like, say one's better than the other. I
yeah.
just I mean, I go to Pet Sounds for a different thing than I go to, I go to Pet Sounds more for, like, my emo side goes to Pet Sounds.
That makes sense.
Does that make
That's
sense?
perfectly put. Yes, that
Yeah.
makes
I
100% sense.
know there's an answer. That kind of
Yeah,
thing that, like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Dude, yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the thing when I heard you I mean, I love great singers, and you're a great singer, and
Thanks.
yeah, man, and when I heard, you doing that stuff, and the fact that you were layering all those vocals and because that's a hard thing to do. Are you into Jellyfish at all?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I actually got to see, uh, Sheryl Crow play at some, like, fundraiser a few weeks ago, and the bass player, Tim Smith, I think he
mhm.
played with Jellyfish. He
Oh.
played with her.
Oh, wow,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
So, Roger Joseph Manning was on my show
Oh, cool.
this season too, and because he has a new record out, and,
Uh-huh.
we talked a lot about vocals and about the whole Queen layering thing,
Mhm.
and he has such an interesting perspective on how that is pulled off.
Okay, what is his take?
Like, the short version is basically, like, you have to have the right voices together,
Yeah.
and not everybody's voice can do it. So he's
Mhm.
like, for instance, if you're gonna try to do it and you're gonna layer whatever, you're gonna do the main melody and you're gonna do 6 tracks of that, and then you're gonna do the harmony, the third, and 6 tracks of that, whatever, so forth
Yeah.
and so on. He was like, not only is like, your phrasing got to be down, which hopefully, if you're the only one doing it,
Mhm.
it's kind of like muscle memory.
Yeah.
But he was like, if the voices together aren't, kind of gelled, you're not going to get that Queen vibe.
Totally. Totally.
Um, so that's the short version. But we talked a little bit about, do you know the artist Blue, Bleu?
Mm-mm.
He's an LA cat.
Okay.
But he's got a bunch of music out. He's worked for Disney a bunch and written
Okay.
a bunch for Disney, but he's got a bunch of great power pop records.
Love it.
You would love him. You would
Okay.
absolutely love. You should check out. He's got a record called Watch Pot.
Okay.
He's got a record out called Four.
Okay.
Four. That's great. He has a new record called Six Tape, SIX Tape.
Oh, nice.
So good. That's probably one of my faves, like, it was one of some of his newest stuff.
Really? Okay. Writing that
Um,
down too.
yeah, Blue, Bleu.
Okay.
But Blue sang on Roger's record, and
Okay.
they've also collaborated together a lot of music. So, like, Roger will sing on Blue stuff, and they always do that Queen thing.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, man, like, when you listen to, like, the first track on Spilt Milk, when you listen to Hush,
Mhm.
and you're like, how did they arrange? I don't like even like the idea of arranging this vocally
Mhm.
is sounds like writing War and Peace to me. Like, I can't even imagine, like, and I get the idea. I'm smart enough harmonically to be like, okay, you're singing the chords, right? So
Yep.
come up with the chord progression and then just, move the vocals around.
Yeah.
But still,
It's not just that though.
I know.
It's like it has to like melodically carry as well, not just because if you just sang the chord stacks, it wouldn't like you have to like find the phrase within it.
Right. Like, how do you approach it when you're kind of getting ready to do stuff like that?
Um, I think like I like to find pockets. I mean, I think that I stick with what the melody is first. Like that's the thing that I is my North Star, and then I like to put harmonies in pockets
Okay.
between phrases. I kind of like to think of it as like I remember hearing a Queen interview where I think it was Brian May talking about his guitar parts actually, but how they would arrange things. And he was talking about Freddie, how they would arrange things like a horn section.
Mhm.
So back to the big band thing and the jazz like swing band kind of thing, like everything was like is like horn stabs and like the woodwinds would play this thing followed by the trumpet. I don't know what it is just I just think
You
of
feel it.
things. I just feel it and I just do what I hear. Um, it's not always so like this I'm gonna do this and this and this. It's more just kind of like sitting and experimenting. I'll have a
Mhm.
melody written out and I'll have my chord progression and then I'll just start singing things and go, "Oh, that's kinda cool," and I could do the 3rd there and I could do the 4th on that thing and I could follow it with this little counter phrase, and so, yeah, it's just kind of a lot of sitting and experimenting and yeah, that
Okay.
that.
It's weird because it's math in a way, but it's
It
like
is.
but you have to feel it too, like you're saying, like, it's gotta feel good, and if it
Yeah.
and are you this way? Tell me if you're like this too. Like, immediately if if my hair doesn't stand up on my arm when I listen to something back, I'm like, "It's not good enough.
Yeah.
It's not
Yep.
there."
Yep. Yep.
So,
I think the math for me is in the background. It's like the ones and zeros underneath the picture or anything on the internet, like, it's the math is like I've studied theory, I've studied music composition and that kinda stuff, so it's in there, but it's not the thing that I is immediate, like, it's mostly, like, what inspires me, what comes out of my mouth when I open it. Does that make
right.
sense?
No,
And then
totally.
and then I sit and analyze it later and go, "Oh, that's what I did." And that's why and then so I'll tweak a few things from there, but it's mostly just, like, feel.
And part of that probably comes from singing in choirs for so long too,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was
Like
in choir in high school and at church and watching my grandpa in barbershop quartets and all of that.
and on
Listening to the Beach
holidays
Boys.
with your
Yeah,
family.
exactly,
It's just
exactly.
it's
Yeah,
already in the fabric of your DNA.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
man.
I remember just, like, driving around listening to the oldies station in LA singing harmonies to, like, whatever, like, Supreme song was on or Marvin Gaye song or yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Man. We're definitely in the same mindset musically, I feel like, Chris. I
Yeah,
think we're I think we're right there.
I love it. We should
Yeah, man.
collaborate on something.
I'm telling you, I feel like we should do a Dolls cover. You can sing the hell out of it. I
Oh,
won't
man.
I'll play guitar.
Okay, what song should we do?
What's one of your favorite records of theirs?
I mean, We're All Gonna Die is great. I loved I mean, a little bit of everything is like the song that stopped me in my tracks and got me into Dawes.
Yeah.
I remember being like we lived in Fullerton, California at the time in this little house, and I was sitting on the porch in a rocking chair, drinking coffee, reading, and I had like put on some music in the background with the door open, and that song came on. I'm like, what is like I put everything down and just sat and listened and got like choked up from listening to this song. Um
The
gosh.
biscuits and the beans, man.
Gosh, right? How could that line make me cry?
Right?
But yeah,
I know, dude. I know.
yeah,
I know. Taylor is a genius. I mean,
yep,
here's what's weird. So I got it, and when Griffin was on my show, I was telling him, like, he's like, "Well, how did you enter into hearing us?" I was like, "I was coming home from a Pearl Jam show, and my buddy put 'We're All Gonna Die' on, and one of us was the first song I heard." And he's
gosh.
like, "That record got you into
Oh,
us?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "I'll tell you this much, man. Had I not been exposed to that record first, I might not have been into you guys.
yeah,
Because if I would have listened to North Hills first,
uh-huh,
the songs on there's a lot of great songs on that. But the
totally.
production does not stand up to what they're doing now.
No, but
But like,
it's endearing still, I like it.
yeah,
Yeah,
totally. But like, all your favorite bands, you know what song's been killing me lately?
what?
Don't Send Me Away.
Which one is that? What so
Send me away. Oh, what
is that on
you're
North Hills?
gonna do. I think it's on all your favorite bands. Let me see real quick.
Oh, man, okay, I gotta go back and listen to that one again.
Oh, dude, it's so good. And there's like this pedal guitar part. It's like, like if you heard it,
Yeah,
you would know. Let me see if it's on all your favorite bands.
I
Oh
really
yeah,
like
it's this.
okay. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh,
I love
that
what were you gonna say? That what?
and Right on Time. You were right on
Oh,
time.
so good. And
Woo!
out of nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
I loved Passwords too.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
mean, yeah,
Telescope is one of my faves. That
so
groove on
good.
Telescope is, man.
Crack the
We pl
Case.
I Oh, dude, yeah. My band plays, stuff off of Doom Scroller, Someone Else's Cafe. Have you heard that
Oh, yeah.
track?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
That middle part.
Such a Steely Dan part.
Oh god, dude, yeah, it's so good. Oh, it's so good, and then
Yep.
putting that fuzz on.
Oh, yeah. So good.
That's so good.
So good.
But, yeah, I mean, we can talk after this and figure something out to do something, but,
Okay, okay.
there's too many good songs, dude. It's
Yeah.
like, I mean,
Are you a fan of Elbow?
I don't know Elbow.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
Okay, okay,
Different kind of a thing, but I feel like they might be the UK's Dawes.
Ooh, okay.
Uh,
Alright, I'm writing it down.
it's you may listen and go, "I don't know, Chris, if you're right about this," but the reason I say that is because they're it's very lyric driven.
Okay,
The the lead singer is a genius. Um, his style, it has a lot of the same kind of, like, Taylorisms of, like, really mundane, everyday kind of pictures and vignettes that, like, tell this, like, deep emotional story. Um, and then it's like a band where they all, like, are great players, and it's all about the interplay between those 4 or 5 guys. But
okay,
I think you'd really love them. They have a record called "The Seldom Seen Kid,"
okay, I'm gonna write that down.
and there's a song on there called, "One Day Like This" that was what my wife walked down the aisle to.
Okay,
Yeah,
alright. I'll check it
it
out. I'm here for it.
okay,
I
yeah,
think you got me. I'll check it out tomorrow.
okay,
Yeah,
please
man.
do. I can't wait to hear what if you like Radiohead and Dawes, Elbow's, like, right in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, that's my jam. I feel like, in the past few years, I've gotten to a place where, even though I love like Tedeschi Trucks Band and I love
Dude,
Fish and all, you know what I mean? There's like,
yeah.
I'm also swimming in all these other little circles. But Dawes has been playing all these jam circuits now,
Yeah.
man.
We saw Tedeschi Trucks Band at the Ryman
Ooh.
in Nashville, like, back in the summer or in the springtime, and while we were there, we saw, like, the TVs in the lobby, like, flash what's coming up next, and Dawes was coming the following week. We didn't even realize they were playing, so we
Oh,
bought tickets then and there to
heck
go
yeah.
and went the following weekend and saw Dawes.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So much good music I'm sure comes through that room.
Yeah, I know. I saw Jimmy Eat World there.
Really?
Yeah, and I remember seeing
Nice.
them when I was a teenager, and it was amazing, and this time it was like parents' night out. It was
Yeah.
we're all in our, like, m mid to late 30s at that point, and yeah.
Yeah. I mean, dude, yeah, it's funny. I've been to Nashville twice. And the one time my wife and I went together, we went to the Ryman and it wasn't to see music. Bill Burr happened to be in town.
Oh, really?
And we both love comedy. So we were like, "Yeah, let's see if they have tickets." And they did.
Okay.
Because I was like,
Oh,
we
man.
have to go to the music church, man. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't not go there and come to Nashville and
yeah.
not walk in those doors.
It's a pretty cool room.
Oh, it's so cool, dude.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
so
you
much.
gotta see a show like, a concert there sometime.
I know. I
Yeah.
know. Maybe if Dawes comes back through there, that's a reason to come back down.
There you go. We saw
So
them also in the caverns, in a cave
oh,
out
I've heard about that room.
yeah, that was super cool too.
Where is that in North Carolina or South
It's
Carolina?
in Tennessee.
Oh, is it?
It's in Pelham, Tennessee, about 2 hours east of here.
Oh, wow, dude. Did it
Yeah.
sound good in there?
It did, surprisingly. Like, I
Okay.
thought it was gonna sound like crap, but it, like I mean, towards the back of the room, it's a little weird, and
Mhm.
it was, like, a little weird, like, there was some slight, like, tinniness to it, but still, like, you get up close enough and it was awesome.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess being in there is, like, distracting enough that you're not gonna harp on if
Yeah.
it sounds,
You're
you know
in a
what I mean?
cave watching one of your favorite bands play.
Yeah. That's pretty cool, man. Well, we're already running over, man. Let me,
Oh, shoot.
let's jump into the lightning round get down because I don't wanna keep you all night.
It's okay.
Um, I have been telling dad jokes before the lightning round get done. I have a Thanksgiving-based dad joke
Okay.
for you. All
Hit
right,
me.
Chris. What's something that is usually insulting, but not on Thanksgiving?
Usually insulting, but not on Thanksgiving. I don't know. Stuffing?
A family member giving you the bird. It's not the best one, but it's a decent one.
He
All right.
gave me the bird. I can't wait to use that on Thursday.
Are you
Uh,
guys what are you doing? Are you guys usually host or do you guys travel?
we usually do host, but my parents moved here a year ago, and they're hosting this year.
Heck yeah,
Yep.
dude.
So
Nice.
we're traveling 45 minutes up the road.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
It
That's
is great.
beautiful.
You?
Nice. We're hosting. We got about
Oh,
small. It's my side of the family, which is small. Talking about big families. My wife is one of 30 first cousins. Right?
wow. Wow.
Some of those people got busy.
Are they Catholic?
So, yes, they are.
Okay.
And her dad is one of 8 children.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the offspring that just sprouts from there. So
Amazing.
big
Amazing.
family, big,
Yeah.
loving, awesome family. My family is very small. There'll only be like 15 people here, and that's kind
Okay.
of extended by because of my brother and sister having their families and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a totally different vibe between
Yeah.
my family and her family. Like her family comes to my gigs and is like drinking and rocking out, and like
Yeah,
my
yeah,
family's super reserved, like sipping
yeah.
a Long Island iced tea in the back. All right. So I'm gonna have a metronome going for some suspense at 112 BPM cruising altitude.
Okay.
And I'm gonna ask you 10 quick questions, rapid fire. You can explain your answers if you want. I love explanations. You don't have to burn through them,
Okay.
but if you want to, you can.
I love it. I'm excited.
All right.
And
Fir-
nervous.
First one is always the same, and this will probably be easier for you because we kind of alluded to this earlier, but Lennon or McCartney?
McCartney.
I should have said Wilson or McCartney.
Oh, that's tough. Still McCartney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and then we got a lot of Thanksgiving ones here, but turkey nap or turkey trot?
Turkey nap.
Stage or studio? Meaning which one would you rather be in?
Studio.
Okay. We're all gonna die or passwords?
We're all gonna die.
Stuffing or green bean casserole?
Green bean casserole all the way. I don't like stuffing.
Okay. I love green bean
Sorry.
casserole too. Mashed potatoes or sweet potatoes?
Oh, mashed potatoes.
God only knows or in my room?
God only knows.
This is a question one. How early is too early for Christmas decorations to go up?
October? I
uh,
think after Halloween, it's fine. All bets are off.
okay.
Yep.
Pumpkin pie or apple pie?
Apple pie all the way.
Okay.
Yep.
And here's the last one, Chris. Sometimes this is the easiest, sometimes it's the hardest for people. If you could take one album, it does not have to be your album, your like favorite album of all time or anything like that, but if you could take one album and erase it from your memory, just so you could go back and experience it for the first time again, what
Oh,
what
man.
album would that be?
The Last Broadcast by Dawes.
I've never heard of the band or the album. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, dude. Okay. This is like Dawes is probably my favorite band.
Okay. Okay.
Them and Blur. I really, really love Blur too. But um Dawes The Last Broadcast is like it's like all the like best 70s and 80s movie soundtracks mixed with a three-piece like English rock band from the 90s.
Oh my gosh, sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's like yeah, they were literally a like dance band in the 90s. They had a hit, like a minor hit in the UK. The band was called Sub Sub, and their studio burned down, and they lost everything and started over again as a three-piece band. And everything is very like they still use a lot of their like um sampling kind of like um ideas where they'll take, you know, a line from a movie and run it through a echoplex or something and you know throw it down a hallway and like add all sorts of reverb and weird things to things, and it's like a really cool like mashup of all these like of like no, it's not dance music. It sounds like I don't know how to describe it other than it's just amazing. It's orchestral. It's like it's beautiful. It's kind of Radiohead-ish, but like more uplifting.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll love it. But The Last
Okay.
Broadcast is one of those that like I will never ever ever get tired of, and I wish I could go back and re-listen to it from the beginning.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna write last broadcast down here.
Yeah.
Man, okay. Man, you gave me a bunch of stuff to listen to. I'm excited because
Same.
I don't. It's funny because it's like I came way late to the game, dude. I finally signed up for like a streaming service. So I signed up for Apple
Uh-huh.
because they pay artists better. I just felt better about that.
Uh-huh. I know I'm
Um,
not on Spotify because
yeah,
I'm just not
yeah,
thrilled with them.
me either. But
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing to like be able to access whatever you want to listen to
It is.
whenever you want to listen to it.
It is.
So like it's almost like option paralysis right now. Like I'll get
Yep.
in the car and I'll be like, what do I want to listen to before I start driving safely?
Yeah.
And be like, well, I haven't heard this record in a long time. I was like, you know what? I didn't ever listen to that last STP record before Scott Weiland died.
Yeah.
So, like I'll listen to stuff like that, but like I haven't had like friends be like, you should check this out. You should check this out. So
Yeah.
this is awesome.
It's like Cheesecake Factory for music. Like I can't go to Cheesecake Factory because not because I don't think the food is edible, but because it's like although it is very salty, it's just too many things on the menu.
Yeah.
I'd much rather go to In-N-Out Burger where it's like a number 2 with animal fries,
Right.
and that's it. Yeah,
Not you don't have to overthink it.
yeah,
But,
uh,
yeah, man, it's a pretty beautiful thing, and I like as I still I still purchase music. I still buy vinyl 'cause of
Yeah,
my
same.
favorite bands and everything. But to be able to, like, get in the car and listen to something just to be like, "Oh, I actually do love this. Now I'm gonna go buy the record." That's kinda
Yeah.
how I use it nowadays.
Uh-huh.
So,
Oh, yeah,
but
for sure, and yeah, I think, like, I'm not really the, like, playlist guy. I don't really go on and, like, just but occasionally when I have, just let a band's album run out and it, like, starts playing things that it thinks I might like. There's been
Mhm.
some really cool stuff.
Oh, heck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And not to mention, I've been watching Stranger Things with my daughter because 'cause she's been
Oh, yeah.
pushing for years to watch that. So I'm, like, totally back in this, like, world where I was like, "God, I wish I had a time machine that I could take you." I told her this tonight when I was cooking dinner. "I wish I could take you back to, like, 1986 and take you to Skateland,
Uh-huh.
and you
I
could
know.
experience what my life was like as a kid, like, how awesome it
Yeah.
was."
Yeah.
So I, like, I went on, Apple Music, and I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna write '80s." And it just pulled up, this amazing playlist,
Oh,
like, from
yeah.
this '80s hits, and I was like, "Alright, this is my jam. This was worth the
Yeah.
money signing up for this just for
Oh,
this."
dude, I'll send you some '80s things too that I've been really digging lately too.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, always.
Okay.
Well, Chris, let me pop this up here. Here's your website, BV. Thanks for moderating the chat per usual. This is your website. People can find out more about what you got going on there, but
Mhm.
go follow this account because it's
Yeah.
super fun.
Yes.
It's and that's how I found out about Chris, and I think, maybe in shorts, I think you popped into my algorithm, and that's how I saw you.
Yeah, that first video, like, took off for some reason. I don't know how or why, but it did.
Yeah, it's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I'm grateful. I'm
Yeah,
very grateful.
and is this is your YouTube channel?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So
Yes.
people can go there to check out all the stuff you got going on
Yep.
in that platform.
YouTube and Instagram is, like, the number 1 thing right now, then YouTube, and then my website. I'm in the process of revamping my website right now, but, yeah, Instagram and YouTube, go check it out.
Cool, sweet. Well, buddy, this was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much
Likewise,
for that,
thanks
man.
so much for having me.
Yeah, dude. So
Yeah.
just hang out for a second. Everybody else, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We'll see you next
Bye. Happy
time.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, man.